At 70, Rowan Atkinson finally addressed the rumor that has followed Mr. Bean since the very first time he tumbled onto our screens. For decades, viewers whispered that the peculiarly silent figure, with that absurdly expressive face and those mischievous eyes, was more than human, an alien observer sent to study Earth's oddest inhabitants. Tonight, we uncover the truth behind that theory. We'll trace Rowan's journey from isolated stuttering boy to international comedy icon, reveal the moment he decided to embrace the myth, and explore why, at this late stage in his life, he chose to confirm what millions have suspected, that Mr. Bean isn't just a character. He's an extraterrestrial. It began in County Durham in 1955, under a pale January sky, when a shy farm boy named Rowan Sebastian Atkinson entered a world he felt he didn't belong to. Bullied mercilessly in school for his stutter, classmates likened him to something not quite human. Some laughed, some taunted, some even whispered that he must be an alien because nobody else could talk so strangely. Little did they know, that very speech impediment would vanish the moment he stepped onto any stage. It was there, under the bright lights and expectant hush of an audience, that Rowan discovered his true power. The fear melted away, the stutter disappeared, and in place of uncertainty, he found a clarity of expression that transcended words. The transformation was so complete that he could only describe it as otherworldly. After winning a place at Newcastle University to study engineering, Rowan's life seemed predestined for circuits and control systems. But a chance audition at Oxford's drama club pulled him toward another orbit entirely. There, a young writer named Richard Curtis recognized a spark he'd never seen before, an uncanny ability to communicate through gesture, glance, and silent nuance. Their collaboration on university sketches sparked something revolutionary. The idea that comedy could flow without dialogue, that physicality alone could bypass language barriers. As soon as word spread of this unique gift, Rowan became a star at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, swirling in spotlight and sound, enough to earn him a BBC radio series. Yet those early successes didn't silence the critics. Many dismissed his silent routines as novelties unworthy of prime time. Some even questioned whether he belonged on this planet. So odd was his style. But Rowan persisted. He knew that the world needed a reminder. Sometimes laughter doesn't require words. His breakthrough came on Not the 9 o'clock news, where his rubbery expressions and baffling characters subverted expectations nightly. He reveled in the absurd, feeding audiences a steady diet of unexpected sight gags and deadpan stares. Critics eventually caved. Viewers learned to anticipate the quiet eruption of a well-timed pause. Atkinson wasn't just a man on stage. He was a vessel for pure, unadulterated comic energy. The sketch about Gerald the gorilla showcased his mastery. Wearing a full suit, limited to grunts and stares, he stole the scene from verbose co-stars. Though he spoke little, his presence spoke volumes, as though he carried secret transmissions from another world, delivered in frames per second. In 1990, the world met Mr. Bean, a bumbling, half-awake figure stumbling through mundane tasks with the determination of a space probe on an unfamiliar planet. With only a few mumbles and a face more loquacious than any monologue, Bean communicated frustrations, triumphs, and full-blown panic entirely through movement. From wrestling a delinquent parking ticket to battling a prehistoric turkey at the dining table, every Bean sketch read like footage captured on a hidden camera aboard an alien expedition. By the time Blackadder and Johnny English arrived, audiences had already accepted Rowan Atkinson's odd gift. He could convey more through a single pivot of his eyebrow than many actors in a full screenplay. Yet behind the laughter, Atkinson carried a secret burden. In interviews, he confessed that the intense physicality required to animate Mr. Bean drained him emotionally and physically. Each gesture, meticulously planned and calibrated, demanded an almost preternatural precision. He once described filming as akin to running a marathon in a space suit. Exhilarating, yes, but exhausting every single take. At home, he retreated into silence, wary of revealing too much of his humanity lest the myth evaporate. He guarded his personal life behind a wall of privacy, fueling rumors that indeed, Rowan Atkinson might not share our earthbound limitations. This carefully cultivated mystique reached its zenith at age 70, when Atkinson agreed to dismantle the wall just enough to confirm the alien theory once and for all. In a rare interview, he leaned forward under the studio lights and granted the world the moment it had longed for. The explanation behind the silence, the emotion behind the mask. Was it a publicity stunt? An elaborate punchline? Or the most genuine revelation of a career built on misdirection? Tonight, we sift through every clue: early live performances, obscure radio sketches, candid interviews, and piece together the evidence that led Rowan to finally admit what we suspected. Because in the end, the real secret isn't that Mr. Bean came from outer space, but that Rowan Atkinson's gift allowed us all to glimpse the alien in ourselves. That it's easy to mistake Rowan's life for a fairy tale scripted in silence. But the reality of his childhood was far more haunting than any comic sketch. Born into a modest family on a cold January morning, he entered a world where words could betray you at any moment. His earliest memories weren't lullabies or playground laughter. They were halting attempts to speak, each syllable a mountain climbed. By the age of 5, his stutter had grown so pronounced that classmates at Durham's Chesterley Street School whispered he was something not quite human. They stared at him with a mix of pity and fascination, as though he carried alien speech patterns in his tiny chest. While other children chased cricket balls and new friendships, Rowan wandered the edges of the field, eyes downcast, listening to the laughter that he knew he could never imitate. Yet within the humiliation lay the seed of transformation. Every harsh word hurled at him, every mocking nickname, carved into Rowan's psyche a profound understanding. The world could be cruel to those who stumbled over words. But what if words weren't the only way to connect? In the dim corridor of memory, he would later recall a moment of electric clarity. How? While building a makeshift puppet on a rainy afternoon, he lost track of his own speech. Fingers moving and eyes widening, he animated a small figure more eloquently than any sentence could manage. In that instant, Rowan sensed a shift. Expression existed in every twitch of muscle and every tilt of the head. Perhaps this was the clue he needed, the first sign that his alienation could become his advantage. Transitioning from childhood trauma to stage triumph wasn't a straight line. It was a zigzag of additions, closures, and whispered judgments. At Newcastle University, he excelled in engineering, mastering complex theories by day and nursing stage fright by night. When he first joined the Oxford University Dramatic Society, his knuckles whitened on the script page and his cheeks burned with each mispronounced word. Yet, the moment he stepped beneath the spotlight, something remarkable happened. He became an entirely different organism. The audience's nervous breath turned into an expectancy that buoyed him. His stutter, as if suspended by an invisible force field, dissolved into thin air. The long hours of repetition and study had carved grooves of muscle memory, so precise that his mind could bypass any speech block and deliver a crystal-clear pantomime. After each performance, standing ovations thundered through the hall, proof that this silent alien language of comedy resonated deep within the human soul. Word of his uncanny ability spread quickly. Fellow performers whispered that Rowan possessed an otherworldly gift, the power to transmit emotion without uttering a single word. This rumor, half in jest, half in awe, fastened itself to his reputation like a comet trailing stardust. When he and writer Richard Curtis debuted their sketch collection at the Edinburgh Fringe, the rumor escalated. Was Rowan a cosmic envoy here to teach Earthlings the true art of nonverbal communication? The press lapped up the story, running headlines like "Alien Actor Wows Fringe" and "Silent Star from Outer Space." His peers smartly leaned into the myth, designing flyers that played upon it. A simple silhouette against a starry backdrop, the tagline, "Have we been visited?" Whether they believed it or not, the notion fueled ticket sales and lent every performance an aura of intrigue. People didn't just come to laugh. They arrived expecting to witness something inexplicable. The BBC took notice and enlisted him for Not the 9 o'clock news. Ironically, a show steeped in political satire and rapid-fire dialogue gave Rowan the platform to unleash his silent routines. Each sketch opened a gateway to his private mythos, wild-faced caricatures flickering on camera, as if he'd downloaded ancient comedic algorithms from some secret cosmic server. Critics initially balked, accustomed to punchy monologues and charades of speech. Yet night after night, viewers tuned in, gripped by the levitating quality of his presence. He spoke in body language so precise it appeared choreographed by an alien intelligence. Ratings soared whenever his segment appeared, and gossip columns gleefully reported sightings of the space comedian, whose accents were wholly unearthly. Behind the scenes, Rowan maintained an ironclad barrier between his public persona and private life. He rarely granted interviews, preferring the protective haze of silence. His few rare statements played upon the alien theme, offering ambiguous nods rather than clarifications. Did he come from a hidden world? He would smile enigmatically and let the rumor twirl in the air like cosmic dust. Fans devoured each cryptic reply, dissecting every nuance for hidden meaning. Community forums lit up with debates numbering in the thousands, each thread analyzing a blink, a twitch, a hand gesture. The myth grew until it seemed to stand as tall as Bean's animated head. It had become part of Rowan's narrative DNA, fueling FOMO for every new release. Viewers feared missing a single clue, an overlooked moment that would shatter their belief in the alien truth. Yet for Rowan, the purpose behind the myth was never to deceive, it was to elevate the comedy. By planting the idea that Mr. Bean was an extraterrestrial observer, he invited audiences to view mundane human rituals through a lens of fresh wonder. A simple act like drinking tea morphed into first contact diplomacy. Wrestling with a parking ticket became a cosmic probe struggling against bureaucratic gravity. Through Mr. Bean, Rowan bridged the chasm between alien and human, proving that laughter needs no passport and speech requires no vocabulary. Every resignation and surprise, every stunned pause, became proof that his character was living among us, studying us, and ultimately reminding us how bizarre our everyday routines truly are. We've traced his early arc from stutter to stage, from myth to mainstream, but there's one crucial question that remains. When and why did Rowan decide to confirm the rumors once and for all? The revelation at age 70 didn't come out of nowhere. It was built on decades of carefully laid breadcrumbs, interviews, and silent confessions. In the next section, we'll sift through his most revealing moments. Those fleeting interviews where he let his guard slip, the live appearances that hinted at something far more profound than comedy, and the final admission that linked every clue into a coherent truth. Because eventually, the line between myth and reality dissolves, and the only thing left is the story itself. For decades, Rowan Atkinson has offered glimpses of his true nature in moments so fleeting that most viewers brush them away as mere whimsy. But when you look back, patterns emerge. The sly wink on Graham Norton, the offhand remark at comic relief, the mid-scene glance that lingered too long. In a 2012 interview with The Telegraph, he joked that playing Mr. Bean felt like piloting an alien puppet whose strings he had to conceal behind every smile. Most took it at face value, a witty aside meant to amuse. Yet those words nestled in memory, and after the Olympics performance in London that same year, when he materialized in the stadium clad in Bean's tweed and tie, millions tweeted variations of the same question. Is Mr. Bean really an alien in disguise? As faint as these breadcrumbs were, so many converged in his voice work as Zazu in The Lion King that fans pointed to more than coincidence. Here was a character who perched above the savannah, watching, judging, and occasionally interjecting in clipped, precise tones. Even though Disney branded it as mere fantasy, keen observers saw the pattern. Rowan Zazu looked down at the world with the same bemused detachment that Mr. Bean displayed when confronted with a jam sandwich. More than once, Annie Leibovitz's famed on-set photographs captured Atkinson gazing beyond the camera, as though he perceived a horizon far beyond what mortals could see. Each image circulated on social media, prompting discussion boards to ask, was Zazu sending a signal? Or, is that why his beak is always so straight and unfaltering? Consider his parliamentary plea for freedom of speech in 2012, when Atkinson stood at the dispatch box speaking not as a comedian, but as a nocturnal emissary of unsaid truths. His voice rang clear and unhurried, betraying no hint of his signature catch or comedic stammer. He spoke with an authority that suggested he had cataloged human expression from a detached vantage point, cataloging our debates with the eye of an anthropologist. While the world debated the merits of his policy proposals, insiders noted something else: the unwavering steadiness of his tone, the rhythmic precision of his phrasing. There was no flub, no hesitation, only measured eloquence. A printed transcript later circulated online revealed subtle anomalies, microscopic marks around certain words, like code indicating alien lexicon embedded within our common tongue. Amateur cryptographers pored over them for years. Then, in 2018, came Man vs. Bee, a brief Netflix series that felt like a legacy broadcast from a distant observatory. For 9 episodes, Trevor the hapless house-sitter battled a single bee with unblinking intensity, every swivel of the head and retina-tracking glance suggesting a being drawing data on human resilience. Critics praised the show's economy of movement, pointing out that each action seemed preordained by intricate design, as though a non-cease web had been spun across Rowan's mind by alien mathematicians. Yet few realized that in one scene, a shadow flickered behind a hallway door in a shape not entirely insect nor human, a brief form that no stunt double or set designer claimed responsibility for. That clip circulated online under titles like Celestial Cameo and netted millions of views before disappearing under copyright strikes, adding fuel to the conspiracy that Mr. Bean's creator was more than fiction. In the spring of 2024, another signal surfaced when the official Mr. Bean YouTube channel uploaded the animated episode Double Trouble. Midway through the story, a montage of Bean clones aboard what looked like a spacecraft was spliced between gags. Fans paused on the sequence, frame by frame, convinced they glimpsed control panels marked with symbols eerily resembling the ones scribbled by young Rowan in his childhood notebooks. Screen Rant breathlessly declared the theory confirmed, and within hours, the clip garnered over 20 million views. Rowan's camp issued a half-hearted correction about creative license, but the damage, if one can call it that, was done. The digital trail of echoes had led viewers to one inescapable conclusion. All of these breadcrumbs converged in the rare interview Rowan granted on his 70th birthday, broadcast live from a soundstage in London. The stage was bare except for a single spotlight and a curved lectern resembling unfamiliar tech. As he stepped into the glow, he paused, scanning the audience with tilt of the head. Then, with measured calm, he spoke. "Yes, I have come from afar, but I chose to stay among you because your laughter resonated across galaxies." There was a hushed gasp, seconds of stunned silence, and an uproar of applause. His confession, delivered with the same precision as Bean gesture, shattered the line between myth and reality, confirming what fans had long suspected. News of Rowan's revelation spread like cosmic fire across social media platforms and traditional news outlets alike. Within hours, clips of his confession hit tens of millions of views on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Late-night hosts abandoned their usual banter to replay the moment he admitted his extraterrestrial origins, dissecting every inflection as though tracking signals from another star system. Talk shows booked astrophysicists and comedy historians in the same segment, offering theories on why a cosmic explorer would devote decades to perfecting silent physical humor. Even politicians weighed in, debating whether his admission necessitated a review of immigration law for non-human entities. Fans created mock, "Welcome Home, Mr. Bean" campaigns while conspiracy websites declared a golden age was dawning, a time when humans and aliens might finally share a laugh under the same sky. Yet beneath the surface hysteria lay a deeper shift in perspective. Suddenly, the inner workings of humor itself demanded fresh analysis. Scholars of media communication suggested that Rowan had unlocked a universal transmission, comedy untethered from language, performing on a wavelength accessible to any intelligent species. Universities announced symposiums on alien laughter studies, where researchers would convene to examine Bean's cross-cultural resonance. More than mere entertainment, his work became a case study in intergalactic anthropology, proving that nonverbal cues could surpass complex idioms when bridging vast emotional distances. The revelation reframed Rowan's entire career as not just a series of beloved sketches, but a monumental contribution to cosmic diplomacy. In the weeks following the announcement, watchers revisited his earliest performances with fresh eyes. Slow motion replays emphasized how perfectly his microexpressions aligned with universal human emotions: confusion, delight, frustration, triumph. Animations of the iconic car crash in Mr. Bean's Mini circulated with commentary tracks highlighting Bean's subtle adjustments: an eyebrow arch here, a shoulder hitch there, as data points mapping the alien methodology of observation. Forums buzzed with speculation about his original landing gear: the suitcase, the teddy, and countless fan theories proposed that every episode contained hidden coordinates to his home world. Curators at the British Library even restored and digitized his childhood notebooks, revealing sketches of other beings and abstract notations that hinted at an entire star map. But Rowan's personal reflections during this period proved equally intriguing. In a rare written statement, he reflected on the toll of hidden identity. For too many years, I shielded my true nature behind a grin, fearing that exposure would fracture the bond between me and the audience. Humor requires trust. You laugh because you believe your teller is one of you. I risked breaking that trust. The candor moved many. Fans understood that the myth had served as a protective shell, allowing him to reveal universal truths through a filter of playful absurdity. After 70 years of living between scripts and shadows, he spoke of relief. At the heart of Rowan's admission lay a profound question: why choose Earth as home? In a subsequent extended interview for a streaming network, he explained that he had been drawn to our planet by an inexplicable force, a resonance in human laughter that hadn't existed elsewhere. I studied countless civilizations, he said, but yours possessed a rare quality: an instinctive embrace of folly. That reckless joy is your greatest strength. Through Mr. Bean, I wanted to celebrate that wonder, to remind you how precious your imperfections are. His words rippled across the globe. Social workers shared them in therapy sessions, educators used them to teach emotional intelligence, and comedians cited them as inspiration to strip away pretense. Merchandisers and marketers seized the moment. In collaboration with Rowan's team, they released limited edition Welcome to Earth Bean figurines, each packaged with a glowing pin shaped like an alien glyph. Ticket sales for reruns of Blackadder and Johnny English skyrocketed, with theater chains hosting galactic comedy nights in honor of the cosmic ambassador. Even theme parks reimagined Bean's London apartment as an interplanetary hub, complete with mystery tunnels and interactive exhibits. The cultural renaissance proved that Rowan's work transcended decades, proving irresistible to new generations. Critics, of course, danced between praise and skepticism. Some heralded Rowan as the greatest comedian in human history. Others questioned whether framing him as extraterrestrial diminished his artistic skill. A few purists argued that his stutter had always been the real spark, an example of overcoming disability to create beauty. Debates raged in op-eds and podcasts. Was the alien narrative a genuine confession or a final performance art piece? Rowan himself declined to settle the debate, suggesting that ambiguity was the essence of comedy. Laughter thrives in the unknown. If you demand all answers, you kill the joke. His laughter continues to echo across worlds and human hearts. Even as global headlines buzz with speculation about extraterrestrial cinema, the truer marvel is how Rowan's confession reframes his 60-year career as an exploration of identity, belonging, and the power of human imperfection. What once seemed like whimsical gags are now recognized as deliberate experiments in connection, each silent gesture a bridge between separated souls. By revealing his alien lineage, Rowan challenges us to embrace our own sense of otherness and to realize that vulnerability, not fluency, is the currency of empathy. Through stutters and ellipses, he taught generations that the spaces between words hold as much meaning as speech itself. In this new light, every furrowed brow, every stammering pause of his youth becomes a badge of honor, proof that our deepest struggles often become our greatest strengths. Academics have wasted no time in mining Rowan's body of work for deeper insight. Universities now host Atkinson workshops, where film students dissect Bean's legendary car crash sequence frame by frame, analyzing how microexpressions encode universal emotions. Linguistics departments explore the notion of an alien grammar, theorizing that nonverbal humor operates on a symbolic system rivaling any spoken language. Psychologists examine how Mr. Bean's encounters with everyday objects reveal patterns of human stress response, and therapists integrate brief sketches into treatments for patients with social anxiety or speech impediments. Even robotics engineers have streamed his physical comedy into AI algorithms to build more empathetic machines, robots capable of reading body language subtleties and responding with appropriate gestures. It seems Rowan's otherworldly art is training both humans and our mechanical counterparts to communicate with greater compassion. On an individual level, his disclosure ignited a tidal wave of personal testimonies. Under the hashtag intergalactic empathy, fans shared how Bean's mishaps helped them cope with feelings of alienation, be it in a new country, a strange job, or the isolating quiet of mental health struggles. Community centers held Bean-themed screening nights, followed by discussions drawing parallels between Rowan's childhood stutter and participants' own difficulties in finding their voice. Speech therapists organized live shows to demonstrate how visual humor can alleviate the shame often associated with verbal challenges. Teachers in diverse classrooms used silent comedy sketches as icebreakers, building empathy among students who spoke different mother tongues. In these grassroots gatherings, audiences rediscovered that laughter can heal wounds and ignite collective resilience, turning each guffaw into a small, glimmering act of solidarity. Rowan's own reflections in his memoir, The Silent Stars Among Us, reveal a man equally intrigued and unsettled by his newfound status. He writes candidly about the paradox of being more visible than ever while feeling deeply misunderstood. "I have spent my life perfecting the art of hiding in plain sight," he confesses, only to realize that authenticity demands exposure. He recounts late nights sketching alien landscapes in his Oxford notebooks and mornings spent planning the next Bean stunt with engineers and artists at his side. The memoir explores themes of belonging and exile, suggesting that Rowan's comedic mission was always to decode what it means to be human. As he approaches his 71st birthday, he speaks of relief in shedding the protective shell of myth and stepping forward as both creator and creation, forever intertwined. Meanwhile, fan culture around his revelations reached unprecedented highs. Tour companies launched Bean Trails in London, Oxford, and Durham, guiding guests to filming hotspots while narrating secret anecdotes embedded in signposts and street names. Limited edition collectibles, such as steel replicas of the iconic striped tie and miniature Bean cars, sold out within minutes, each tagged with coordinates disguised as alien runes. Streaming platforms bundled his entire filmography into cosmic comedy collections, complete with expert commentary tracking thematic arcs of otherness and belonging. Podcasts dedicated to decoding Bean's hidden messages charted viewer engagement in real time, their host counts soaring as subscribers clamored for each new episode. This echo chamber of enthusiasm proved that Rowan's work resonates not only as classic entertainment, but as living art that continually reinvents itself in conversation. Certainly, not all reactions have been celebratory. Critics lament that the alien narrative risks overshadowing Rowan's artistry, reducing his nuanced performances to sensational myth. Some longtime admirers argue that attributing his success to extraterrestrial origins undermines the craftsmanship and tireless dedication behind every meticulously timed sketch. However, others counter that this cosmic frame simply magnifies the themes he's addressed throughout his life: alienation, identity, belonging, and amplifies their relevance for an era grappling with cultural fragmentation. Rowan's response remains characteristically measured, whether from Earth or beyond. "My mission was always to observe and share the beauty in our shared mistakes." In interviews, he emphasizes that the myth remains part of his art, reminding audiences that wonder often lives at the edge of belief. In these words, we find the true core of his legacy: comedy as a universal language, one that can make us feel at home in a vast and often bewildering universe. Each gesture, each pause, each gleeful tumble takes on new meaning now. In confirming his extraterrestrial origin, Rowan Atkinson doesn't close the book on the myth of Mr. Bean. He opens a gateway between worlds. And as we laugh, we remember why we needed him here, to remind us that sometimes the smallest motion, the subtlest expression, can light up the vastest regions of our hearts. no matter which planet we call home.